The hum of the medical bay was calm and steady, like the soft breath of a sleeping ship. Bright white lights shone over the clean tables, and small silver machines hummed quietly. Nurse Zilara moved between the beds with her usual gentle steps, her long blue fingers holding a glowing medical scanner. Zilara was a Solari, tall, graceful, with smooth skin that shimmered faintly under the lights. Her wide black eyes blinked slowly as she studied her patients, checking their health one by one. She loved her job. Helping others was the reason she had joined the crew of the Silver Horizon, a peaceful deep space research vessel. That day seemed normal. A Glaverian miner had come in with a twisted ankle. An old Voran scientist needed his oxygen tank adjusted. And in bed number 6 lay the newest arrival to the medical bay, a human named Alex Reed. Zilara had heard of humans before. They were from a small blue planet far away, a species still new to interstellar travel. She had read that they were curious, emotional, and sometimes reckless. But she had never treated one in person. Alex was resting, his eyes closed. His breathing was steady, but the medical scanner she held in her hand suddenly flashed a warning. A bright red light pulsed. On the display, "Unusual heat detected," the scanner's voice announced in a calm tone. Zilara tilted her head. The heat signature was coming from an area between the human's legs. Her eyes widened. "Inflammation?" she whispered to herself. In Solari medicine, sudden heat in that part of the body often meant dangerous infection or internal swelling. It could spread quickly and cause the patient to collapse. Her heart raced. She tapped her communicator. "Dr. Oren, please report to Medical Bay immediately," she said. "Possible critical condition in human patient." Alex stirred at the sound of her voice. What's wrong?" he asked sleepily. "Please remain still," Zilara said gently but firmly. "You may have a serious health issue. I must—" "Act quickly," Alex blinked in confusion. "Serious? I feel fine." Zilara didn't answer. She turned to the supply cabinet and grabbed a jar of blue cooling gel. Her hands moved fast. She needed to bring the heat down before the swelling, damaged internal systems. Just then, the door hissed open and Dr. Oren stepped inside. He was a broad, green-scaled alien from the Brack species, wearing a dark medical coat. "What's the emergency?" he rumbled. Zilara gestured to the scanner. "Localized heat surge between the lower limbs," she said seriously. "Temperature is 37 Solari degrees above normal. I suspect acute inflammation." Dr. Oren leaned over Alex, studying the readings. His brow ridge twitched, and then he let out a sound that was halfway between a cough and a laugh. "Zilara," he said in a slow, patient voice. "This is not an emergency." Zilara frowned. "Not an emergency? The scanner says—" Yes, Dr. Oren interrupted, "but human anatomy is unique. What you see as abnormal heat is actually perfectly normal for them." Zilara blinked. "Normal?" She turned to Alex. "You are not in pain?" Alex was now wide awake, looking both embarrassed and amused. "No pain at all," he said, a smile tugging at his lips. "It's just the way humans are built." Zilara's mind spun. She had studied the medical databases for many alien species, but the human section had been short and incomplete. The Solari Medical School had not mentioned this. Dr. Oren gave a small chuckle. "Zilara, perhaps you should take some time to review human biology in detail. They have many differences from Solari and Brack, very unusual ones." Zilara felt her cheeks warm, a sign of embarrassment among her people. She had rushed to treat something that wasn't even a problem. Still, her curiosity was growing, fast. Why would a species have such a strange heat pattern in their lower body? Did it serve a purpose? Alex watched her carefully. "Don't worry," he said kindly. "You're not the first alien to think something's wrong. Humans surprise people all the time. Zilara gave a small nod. But inside, her thoughts were busy. If humans had such unusual traits, what other mysteries did their bodies hide? And why had no one in her academy explained them properly? She looked back at the scanner, then at Alex, and then at the doctor. The incident was over, but she had the feeling this was only the beginning of a much stranger journey. Far down the hallway outside the medical bay, a pair of crew members had overheard part of the conversation. They whispered to each other as they walked away. "Did you hear? The human has a dangerous swelling," one said. "Dangerous swelling," the other replied in a shocked voice. "Maybe it's contagious." The rumor began to spread before Zilara could stop it. By the end of the day, half the ship would be talking about the strange human condition. Zilara didn't know that yet. For now, she simply cleaned the scanner, put the gel jar away, and tried to focus on her other patients. But the question kept echoing in her mind. What else about humans do we not understand? She decided she would find out. The next morning, the silver horizon felt different. Zilara could sense it the moment she walked into the corridor outside the medical bay. Crew members passed by in small groups, whispering to each other, their eyes darting toward her and then away again. She tilted her head in confusion. Had she missed something in the ship's announcements? Inside the medical bay, Dr. Oren was already working, sorting through data pads. When Zilara entered, he glanced up and smirked. "Have you heard the news?" he asked, his deep voice carrying a hint of amusement. "What news?" Zilara asked. "The news about our human patient," Oren said. "It seems half the ship believes he's suffering from a dangerous swelling that could explode at any time." Zilara's eyes widened. "That is ridiculous," she said firmly. "I never said it could explode." Oren chuckled. "You didn't." "Have to. Rumors grow on their own." Zilara felt a wave of embarrassment. She thought back to the two crew members outside the bay yesterday. They must have overheard her call for an emergency. Now the misunderstanding had spread like a wind in the ventilation ducts. Alex Reed entered the room just then, carrying a small container of fruit from the ship's dining hall. "Morning," he said cheerfully. Zilara looked at him closely. "You seem comfortable," she said. "Why wouldn't I be?" Alex replied, taking a bite of something that looked like a purple apple. "Oh, except for the fact that 3 people in the lift asked me if my dangerous swelling is stable." Zilara's cheeks warmed again. "I did not mean for this to happen," she said quickly. "I only acted to help." Alex laughed softly. "I know. But I think the crew is more curious than worried. They've never met many humans. I guess they just don't understand how we're built." Zilara shifted uncomfortably. "That is true. My medical training contained very little about human anatomy. We studied basic organ function, but not specific features." Oren stepped forward. "That's your problem right there, Nurse Zilara. The Solari Medical Academy only teaches what's been shared by humans themselves, and humans tend to keep some details private." "Private?" Zilara repeated. The concept made sense. Solari also kept certain medical data confidential to protect their culture's dignity. But this was a ship with mixed species. Wasn't full knowledge. "Important for safety?" Alex took another bite of fruit and spoke with a friendly tone. "If you want, I can explain the basics, in simple terms. That way, you'll know what's normal and what's not." Zilara hesitated. She was curious, yes, but she was also aware that the ship's gossip was already wild enough. Still, medical accuracy was important. "Very well," she said. "I would appreciate the knowledge." They moved to the side table in the bay. Alex began to describe human biology in the lower body, keeping the explanations purely medical and clear. Zilara listened carefully, asking questions about temperature regulation, blood flow, and how the body adapted during movement or injury. It was fascinating. So much of it was unlike Solari or Brack anatomy. Humans seem to have small but clever adaptations for surviving a wide range of conditions. Orin leaned against the wall, listening. You see, Zilara, humans are not as fragile as they look, he said. They heal quickly, they adapt fast, and their bodies work in strange but effective ways. Before Zilara could reply, the medical bay door slid open, and 2 crew members from the engineering team stepped in. They looked at Alex nervously. Sorry to interrupt, one of them said. We just wanted to check if you're stable. Alex sighed, but his smile stayed friendly. Yes, I'm fine, no danger, just a misunderstanding. The engineers exchanged doubtful glances, but nodded and left. After the door closed, Zilara spoke quietly. This is going to continue unless I make an announcement. Orin shook his head. If you do that, they'll only become more curious. Best to let it fade on its own. But the rumor did not fade. By the end of the day, the dining hall was buzzing with talk. Some said the human had an internal energy core that overheated. Others claimed it was a hidden defense system. One crew member swore they saw Alex walking slower than usual, to avoid triggering it. Zilara decided she needed to take action, not to stop the gossip, but to learn more. If she could understand humans better, she could treat them better. That night, after her shift, she stayed in the medical bay alone. She accessed the ship's database, searching for every available file on human biology. The data was sparse but intriguing. Humans had a wide range of body temperatures compared to most species. They could survive in heat and cold far beyond what Solari could tolerate. Their immune system had unusual flexibility, adapting to new bacteria faster than expected. Zilara sat back in her chair, her mind racing. The inflammation incident had been a misunderstanding, but maybe it had revealed something bigger. Humans weren't just unusual. They might be uniquely strong in ways no one realized. Her thoughts were interrupted by a message on her communicator. It was Alex. Still awake? His message read. Yes, Zilara replied. A moment later, another message came. Tomorrow, I'm on the asteroid survey team. You should come along. I can show you how humans work in the field. Zilara's fingers hovered over the reply pad. A field mission would let her observe him in real conditions, walking, climbing, carrying equipment. She could see how his body adapted in real time. She typed her answer. I will join. The next morning would bring an asteroid mission, unexpected challenges, and a lesson Zilara would never forget. For now, she closed the medical files, turned off the lights, and prepared herself. She didn't yet know that her curiosity about one human's strange heat signature was about to lead to discoveries that could change how the galaxy saw Earth's people forever. The next morning, the Silver Horizons shuttle bay was busy with activity. Crew members moved back and forth, loading survey gear into the small exploration craft. Zilara stepped inside, her medical kit slung over her shoulder. She had agreed to join the asteroid survey mission, partly to assist in case of injuries, and partly to study Alex in the field. Alex was already there, securing a container of scanning drones. He looked up when he saw her. Glad you made it, he said with an easy smile. You might want to keep your scanner ready. This asteroid's terrain can be tricky. Zilara gave a short nod. I am prepared, she said, though her mind was busy with thoughts. It had been almost 2 days since the inflammation incident, yet the rumor still buzzed through the ship like static in a comm signal. As the shuttle doors closed, 2 alien crew members in the corner whispered to each other. Zilara's sharp ears caught part of it. They say the human carries unstable energy in his lower body. That's why the nurse follows him everywhere. It could activate at any time. Zilara's cheeks warmed again. Alex must have heard too, because his smile twitched. Guess the legend's growing, he said quietly. The shuttle lifted off, the hum of its engines filling the cabin. Outside the viewport, the asteroid grew larger, a gray, rocky world with a thin shimmer of dust drifting above its surface. They landed in a shallow crater and stepped out into the light gravity. The team spread out, deploying scanners to map mineral deposits. Alex carried a heavy pack filled with survey tools. Zilara noticed how easily he moved even when climbing over jagged rocks. Most Solari needed to adjust slowly in low gravity to avoid strain, but Alex seemed comfortable after only a few steps. She switched on her portable scanner, tracking his vital signs. Heart rate steady, body temperature stable, even in the asteroids. Extreme temperature swings. This is unusual, she murmured to herself. What's unusual? Alex called back. Your ability to adapt so quickly, Zilara replied. Solari muscles take longer to adjust in light gravity. Alex shrugged. Humans evolved with lots of variety in environments. Mountains, deserts, polar ice. Our bodies learn fast. They continued their work until the ground trembled under their feet. Zilara looked up sharply. A section of the crater wall was shifting. Loose rocks slid down in a slow but growing wave. Rockfall! Someone shouted. The crew scrambled to move. Zilara saw a large slab breaking loose above Alex's position. Without thinking, she ran toward him. The rock crashed down, kicking up, a cloud of dust. When it cleared, Zilara saw Alex standing in a crouch, his arms raised over his head. The slab lay beside him, cracked in half. Her eyes widened. You moved it? Just pushed it aside enough to get clear, Alex said, catching his breath. Wasn't as heavy in this gravity. But Zilara's scanner told a different story. His muscles had been under enormous strain, and yet his vital signs were already returning to normal. Any Solari or Brack would have needed medical treatment after such effort. The team gathered around. One of the crew, a Voran with long silver hair, whispered, "The human's unstable core must give him extra strength." Zilara opened her mouth to correct the misunderstanding, but then stopped. She thought back to her late-night research. Humans did have quick muscle recovery, even after sudden strain. It wasn't an unstable core, but maybe letting the rumor live a little longer wouldn't hurt. After the rock fall, they moved to a safer part of the asteroid. Alex continued his work as if nothing had happened. Zilara followed closely, scanning minerals and watching him carefully. She noticed something else. Whenever the wind shifted and blew fine dust into the air, most of the crew covered their breathing masks quickly to avoid coughing. But Alex seemed less affected, clearing his throat only once before carrying on. You resist airborne particles better than most, she observed. Humans have a lot of tiny filters in our noses and lungs, Alex explained. Helps against dust, pollen, even some pathogens. Comes from living on a planet with all kinds of airborne stuff. Zilara made a note in her data pad. Adaptable muscles, stable core temperature, resistance to airborne particles. The more she saw, the more convinced she became. Humans were not fragile newcomers to the galaxy. They were quietly one of the most adaptable species she had ever met. By the time the shuttle lifted off to return to the Silver Horizon, Zilara's medical kit was still closed. She hadn't needed it once. Alex sat across from her, stretching his legs. Told you I'd be fine, he said with a grin. Zilara tilted her head. Perhaps more than fine, she replied. Perhaps extraordinary. He raised an eyebrow but didn't ask for details. She suspected he already knew humans had certain advantages, but perhaps even he didn't realize how unusual they looked to other species. When they returned to the ship, the rumor had grown yet again. Now the story was that the human's dangerous swelling could also give him super strength and protect him from dust storms. Dr. Oren stopped Zilara in the corridor. I heard about the rockfall, he said, and the dust. Beginning. To think your patient might actually be a walking medical marvel. Zilara's lips curved slightly. Perhaps, she said, but I will need more evidence. That night, She reviewed the scanner logs from the mission. Every reading confirmed what she had seen with her own eyes. The heat signature she once thought dangerous was simply part of a larger human system, one designed to adapt, protect, and recover. She leaned back in her chair, thoughtful. This had started as a small misunderstanding. Now it was becoming a mystery worth solving, and she had the feeling that the next mission might reveal even more. The Silver Horizon cruised silently through deep space, heading toward a small research outpost near a mineral-rich asteroid belt. Zilara walked through the corridors with her medical kit, still thinking about the last mission. She kept replaying the image of Alex pushing the rock aside and recovering so quickly. She wanted more proof. Her mind was full of questions. How far could a human push their body before it failed? What hidden systems helped them recover? Was the strange heat signature just one piece of something much bigger? She didn't have to wait long for another chance to observe. The day was calm until the captain's voice sounded over the ship's comm system. All survey crew to the shuttle bay. We have a short mission to collect geological samples from Outpost 7. Minor gravity but stable surface. Zilara was already moving before the announcement finished. Alex was part of the team again, and she decided to join as medical support. The shuttle ride was smooth. From the viewport, the outpost looked like a small cluster of silver domes on the gray rock surface. Dust clouds drifted lazily in the thin atmosphere. As soon as they landed, the crew spread out, carrying scanners and sample containers. Alex strapped a large box to his back and began climbing a ridge near the outpost. Zilara followed, scanning the area for environmental hazards. Half an hour into the mission, the ground trembled. At first, it was just a light vibration, but then a sharp cracking sound split the air. A support beam on one of the outpost's storage buildings gave way, sending part of the wall collapsing inward. "Inside! Someone's trapped!" A crew member shouted. Zilara's instincts kicked in. She ran toward the damaged building with Alex right behind her. Through the dust, she could see a Voran technician pinned under a heavy panel. The Voran was conscious but gasping for breath. The beam above them was unstable. It could fall any second. Alex didn't hesitate. He crouched beside the panel and gripped its edge. Zilara's scanner flashed red, warning of the weight's danger, but Alex pulled anyway. His muscles strained, and for a moment, Zilara thought he might fail. Then the panel shifted. Alex heaved again, pushing his legs against the ground, and managed to move the panel enough for Zilara to pull the Voran free. The beam overhead creaked ominously. Alex let the panel drop and grabbed Zilara's arm. "Out!" he shouted. They cleared the doorway just as the beam gave way, crashing into the spot where they had been. Outside, Zilara quickly checked the Voran's vitals. His oxygen mask had cracked, but he would recover with treatment. She turned to Alex, scanning him next. His heart rate was high, his breathing fast. But even as she watched, the numbers began dropping back toward normal. No major muscle damage. No severe strain indicators. "You should be exhausted," she said softly. "I'm fine," Alex replied, rolling his shoulders. "Humans can push hard for short bursts. Then we catch our breath and keep going." Zilara remembered her academy. Training. Salari could only maintain peak effort for half the time before risking collapse. Brock could lift heavier loads, but needed hours to recover. Yet Alex was already moving again, helping secure the rest of the outpost. As they worked, Zilara noticed something else. The environment was dry and dusty, with temperature swings between shade and sunlight. Most species needed to adjust their suits or take short breaks to regulate body temperature. But Alex seemed fine in both hot sun and cold shadow. Her scanner confirmed it. His body temperature stayed within a narrow, stable range. That strange heat signature she had first seen in the medical bay wasn't a warning sign. It was part of his body's natural balancing system. She began connecting the dots. The swelling she thought was dangerous was simply increased blood flow to help with movement and healing. That same system might help humans recover faster from injury, survive in unstable environments, and perform sudden bursts of strength. By the time they finished loading samples onto the shuttle, the Voron technician was resting comfortably, and Alex was joking with the engineering crew. On the return trip, Zilara sat across from him, her mind busy with calculations. "Humans are unlike any other species I have treated," she said finally. Alex raised an eyebrow. "Good different, or bad different?" "Good," she replied simply. "But mysterious." Orin, who had joined the mission as a supervisor, leaned in. "You're beginning to understand what I've been saying for years. Humans adapt faster than anyone gives them credit for." Back on the Silver Horizon, the story of the outpost rescue spread almost as fast as the earlier rumor. Now the crew whispered that the unstable energy inside Alex not only gave him super strength but could also keep him from overheating or freezing. Zilara almost corrected them, but then she thought about the truth. Humans didn't have an unstable core. They had something better. A set of hidden biological systems that made them remarkably hard to stop. That night, she reviewed her data. Every reading told the same story. The feature she once thought dangerous was actually a symbol of survival, her. Last note before closing the file read, "Humans are not fragile. They are built for extremes." The Silver Horizon sailed quietly through space, its engines purring like a well-fed machine. In the medical bay, Nurse Zilara sat at her desk, reviewing the data she had collected about humans, or rather, about one human in particular, Alex. Read. Strength in sudden emergencies, quick recovery after heavy strain, stable body temperature in extreme environments, resistance to dust and airborne particles. She tapped her finger on the table. These were not just random quirks. They were patterns. Patterns that might mean something important. Before she could finish her notes, the ship's internal alarm chimed. A calm but serious voice spoke over the intercom. "Attention all crew. Report any symptoms of sudden fatigue, shortness of breath, or dizziness to medical bay immediately." Zilara was already on her feet. Moments later, Dr. Oren came in, carrying a small data pad. "Pathogen," he said shortly. "Something from the outpost's dust. It's affecting several crew members already." Zilara's eyes widened. "But Alex was exposed to that dust, and he's fine." Oren nodded. "Exactly, which means whatever is in his immune system might help us." Within the hour, the medical bay was full. Crew members sat or lay on the beds, some coughing, some pale and weak. The air filters hummed, working to keep the pathogen from spreading further. Zilara scanned patient after patient. The pathogen seemed to lower oxygen levels and weaken muscles. But when she scanned Alex, who had come in at Oren's request, his readings were completely normal. "Not even a trace," she murmured. Alex looked around at the crowded room. "You think something in me is stopping it?" "Yes," Zilara said, "and I need to find out what it is, quickly." They moved Alex into a separate diagnostic room. Zilara took careful samples of his blood, monitoring his immune cells. What she saw on the screen was remarkable. His white blood cells were already producing a broad range of defenses, adjusting to block anything that didn't belong. "This is why you resist so well," she told him. "Your immune system is like a rapid response machine. It changes faster than the pathogen can spread." Oren studied the data beside her. "If we can copy this response and turn it into a treatment, we can save the crew." But there was a challenge. The pathogen was spreading fast, and they didn't have the luxury of slow, careful lab work. Zilara turned to Alex. "I need to run a controlled test. Your body reacts in real time. So if I expose a sample of the pathogen to your immune cells here in the lab, I might be able to record and replicate the defense process." Alex gave a small smile. Sounds like I'm about to be the most useful patient you've ever had. The test began. Zilara placed the pathogen sample in a sealed container with Alex's blood cells and started the scanner. The display lit up as the cells reacted almost instantly, releasing a variety of defensive proteins and markers. Zilara recorded everything, her hands moving quickly over the controls. The system's computer began building a simulation of the human immune response. Faster, faster, she whispered to herself. The numbers climbed, showing that the human defense could block the pathogen in less than 20 minutes. By now, more crew members were arriving in the bay, some barely able to walk. Zilara's urgency grew. She transferred the simulation data to the ship's medical fabricator, programming it to produce a small batch of serum based on Alex's immune response. When the first vial was ready, she gave it to a Voran engineer, who had collapsed earlier. They monitored him closely, and within an hour his oxygen levels began rising. Color returned to his face. "It works," Oren said, his voice both relieved and amazed. They moved quickly after that. Every crew member showing symptoms received the serum. One by one, their breathing steadied, and strength began to return to their limbs. When the last patient was treated, Zilara finally sat down, her shoulders slumping with exhaustion. But her eyes were bright. She looked at Alex. "Do you realize what just happened? A trait I thought was strange and possibly dangerous saved the entire crew." Alex leaned back in his chair. "I guess sometimes being different is a good thing." Word spread even faster than the earlier rumors. The crew no longer whispered about a dangerous swelling or unstable energy. Now they spoke about the human immune system as a miracle. Some joked that Alex was now the ship's walking medicine cabinet. Zilara didn't mind the jokes this time, because behind the humor was respect. Respect for a species that could adapt, endure, and even protect others in ways no one expected. That night, Zilara began writing a formal medical report. The Hidden Adaptations of Homo sapiens. Case. Study. Resistance to airborne pathogens. In the introduction, she wrote, "Humans are not defined by fragility. They are defined by flexibility. Where other species must prepare for specific threats, humans carry within them a system ready to meet the unknown. This adaptability is not an accident. It is a survival strategy refined by the challenges of their home world." She stopped, for a moment, thinking about her first scan of Alex in the medical bay, the flashing red alert, her panic over the supposed inflammation. She smiled to herself. It had started as a misunderstanding. Now it was a discovery that might change the way the galaxy saw humans. The silver horizon was back on course, gliding silently through the darkness of space. The medical bay was calm again. Machines hummed softly, and the beds were empty. For the first time in days, Nurse Zilara could breathe without worry. Alex. Reed was sitting on the edge of a bed, swinging his legs slightly. "You look tired," he said, smiling. "I am tired," Zilara admitted. "But I am also proud. The aftermath of the pathogen outbreak. The serum made from Alex's immune response had saved the entire crew. No one had been lost. Within hours of treatment, every patient had been walking around again, talking, laughing, and eating. Captain Doran had personally come to the medical bay to thank Zilara and Alex, but the captain had also made another decision to report this discovery to the Galactic Medical Council. "Humans," Doran had said during the meeting, "possess a unique biological defense. If we can understand it, we can prepare for many future threats." A message from the Council. 2 days later, a transmission arrived. The Galactic Medical Council wanted a full report, and they wanted Alex to visit their central research station. It was rare for the Council to take interest in one specific crew member. When Alex heard about it, he rubbed the back of his neck. "I'm just a mechanic," he said. Zilara shook her head. "You are more than that now. You are proof that Your kind can survive things most species cannot. Alex laughed softly. I'm going to be a science project, aren't I? Zilara tilted her head, smiling in her own alien way. Perhaps, but an important one. The journey to the council. The trip to the council's station took 3 days. During the journey, Zilara spent hours preparing her presentation. She included every scan, every data reading, and every observation she had made about Alex's body during the incident. At one point, Alex came into the lab and watched her work. You're really putting in a lot of effort, he said. I want them to understand, she replied. Not just the medical part, but the truth about humans. That you are not fragile creatures, as many believe. Alex raised an eyebrow. Do a lot of aliens think we're fragile? Zilara nodded. Yes, but after this, they might think differently. The council's station. When the Silver Horizon arrived, the station looked like a giant silver ring floating in space. Docking clamps extended, guiding them into one of the large hangars. Inside the council chamber, representatives from many species were seated in a great circle. Some had shimmering scales, others had soft fur, and a few looked almost plant-like, with leaves that moved as they breathed. Zilara stood at the center with Alex beside her. Her voice was calm, but her heart raced. She explained the events step by step, the exposure to dust, the pathogen outbreak, the crew's symptoms, and Alex's immunity. She showed medical scans on a large holographic display, pointing out the speed and adaptability of the human immune system. Several council members leaned forward, clearly intrigued. Questions from the galaxy, a tall, crystalline being spoke first. You say this human's immune system changed within minutes to block the pathogen. Is this common for their species? Yes, Zilara replied. Humans evolved on a world full of unpredictable conditions. Their bodies developed to fight off many types of threats. Another representative, whose voice sounded like wind through trees, asked, Does this mean humans could survive better in new worlds than most species? Potentially, Zilara said. Where others must prepare. Special protection, humans often adapt naturally. The chamber filled with low murmurs. Recognition for humanity. After a short discussion, the head of the council, an elder Voran with deep blue skin, stood. On behalf of the Galactic Medical Council, we acknowledge the human immune system. As a valuable natural resource, we encourage collaboration with human researchers to further study and share this ability. The statement was not just medical, it was political. From now on, humans would be seen in a new light, as allies who could survive and help others survive. Alex turned to Zilara. So, I guess my weird biology is officially famous now. Zilara chuckled softly. Yes, and I think your people will be proud. The journey back. On the return trip to the Silver Horizon, Alex and Zilara walked through the docking tunnel. The ship's crew was waiting to greet them, clapping and cheering. Someone had even hung a small banner that read, Our Hero Human. Alex laughed and shook his head. This is ridiculous, he said. Zilara smiled. It is well deserved. A quiet conversation. Later that evening, Alex found Zilara in the observation lounge looking out at the stars. He sat beside her, and for a moment they simply watched the endless expanse of space. You know, Alex said quietly, when I first joined this crew, I thought I'd just be fixing engines. I never thought I'd end up saving lives. Zilara turned to look at him. I never thought the strange readings from my first scan of you would mean so much, she admitted. At first, I was worried. Now I see that those differences are your strength. Alex grinned. Well, I guess that's humans for you. We surprise people. A final thought. As the ship continued its journey, Zilara made a final note in her medical log. Humans are not simply adaptable. They are unpredictable in ways that can change the outcome of entire events. What may seem unusual or even alarming in one moment can become the key to survival in the next. In the galaxy's vast network of species, humanity holds a place of quiet but undeniable importance. She saved the entry and looked once more at Alex, who was telling a story to a group of crewmates, making them laugh. Yes, she thought, humans are worth knowing and worth keeping close.